Hey, I'm Nicole. Welcome back to my channel, where today we're going to be working on a fun little embellishment project to see if I could take these sandals that cost less than £1 and transform them into these embellished sandals of dreams. Now, before we get into the video, I just wanted to point out that this video is not designed to be a tutorial. I started off with a bit of starting inspiration, which was these gorgeous Cat Makoni sandals that I treated myself to in the sale a few years ago. But beyond that, I really did not know exactly how these were going to turn out. At every step, I was just deciding what the next step was going to be and what the next step was going to be, and it just evolved as I went through the project. There are a couple of techniques that I've used during the course of this project, which I do have detailed step-by-step tutorials for on my Buy Me a Coffee shop. And those include the metal foiling process that I used on the strap here and the back heel and the heel of the shoe, and a few basic jewelry making techniques which I used to create all the embellishments that you see here on the strap and also on the back heel. As I'm using those techniques throughout the project, you will see bits of the process. But if you would like detailed step-by-step tutorials, you will need to head to my Buy Me a Coffee shop and check out my specific tutorials for those. I have linked those in the video description. So, are you ready? Let's get started. The first thing I would like to do to these is just add a little bit more color. I do like this burgundy color, but I just think it makes the sandal look a little bit flat. I think we could play with a little bit of color blocking, keeping the burgundy in places, maybe on the sole and maybe on the strap. But I think certainly for the heel and the back here, it might be nice to play around with a little bit of color blocking, potentially adding some embellishment on the heel as well, whether it's through some beading or through some trims and tassels or something like that, just adding in a little bit of texture somewhere. I know you can't see this part when the shoe is worn, but I do think that we could do something a little bit prettier with the sole of the shoe as well. Now, I'm going to start this project with a little experiment. My idea for how I'm going to do the color blocking is a technique of gold foiling that I've used before on another pair of shoes that I have. Those were leather. And I know this process works really well on leather. I have never tested it before on this type of material, which is a fabric. It's kind of a velvety fabric. It's almost like an imitation suede. And I don't know how the foil is going to take because I've never tried it before on this particular material. I have got some metallic foils in all of these gorgeous colors. I thought it might be nice to try this chartreuse kind of green on the heel, and then maybe a cobalt blue or something like that for the back or the strap, and just have fun with the colors if this works. If that test is successful, then we can move on and color block some of the other areas of the shoe. If it's not successful, if it looks terrible or it doesn't work, then I will look for some other solution where we cover up the heel with some beading or some trim of some sort, just so that we cover over the area that's not looking so nice. The first thing I'm going to do is take some masking tape. I'm just going to mask off the areas that I don't want the foil to go on. For me, that's this little black section of the heel here. I think it would be nice to just keep that in its current black color. Let's now mask off this gold area here, because I think that's quite a nice little detail to keep on the shoe. And let's mask off the gold strip on this side as well. I'm not going to bother masking off the bottom of the heel here. I will just be really careful when I'm painting on the adhesive to make sure that I'm staying just on the heel and not getting onto the back of the shoe here. So let's go ahead and do that on the other side as well. I've got the heel masked off, so now I'm going to apply the adhesive that we're going to use to attach the metal leaf. For some reason, size is what they call the adhesive. I've just got some poured into this plastic lid just for ease of use. What I'm going to do now is take this little paintbrush and just paint inside the masked area on the heel. Now, I didn't mask off the top of the shoe, so I'm just going to have to be careful to just paint the top of the heel very carefully. I may need to go in with 2 coats of this. Normally I would just do 1 because I can just see it sinking into the fabric here. So let's just go ahead and do the first coat, and we will wait until that gets a little bit dry, and then we will apply a second coat afterwards. While I'm waiting for that side to dry, I might just start piggling off some of the bits of this that are peeling away. I'm either going to cover the whole sole of this with another bit of fabric, possibly some leather maybe, or maybe I will just metal leaf this whole bit as well, just give it a nice accent color. But this peeling is not it. I'm just piggling that off with my fingers. Just want to get that back to a nice smooth surface so I can do something else with it that's a bit nicer than this. I think we are ready to now apply the second coat of size. So let's go ahead and do that. For a quick comparison, that's how the second coat looks compared to the first. Let's go ahead and put this to one side to let it dry again, and then we will apply the foil. I have been waiting super patiently for this size to go all clear, which I think it has now. So I think let's have a go at putting the foil on and see how it looks. Absolutely love this color. This sort of chartreuse lime green is absolutely gorgeous. The leaf still looks a little bit textured. Doesn't look very smooth, which maybe that's just how it's going to look, just because it was put on over a velvet fabric. I wonder if we just go again with another layer of size and another layer of gold leaf, just to see if we can just get it a little bit more smooth than it currently is. This time I think I will leave the size to dry overnight. Might end up just looking the same, but it'd be worth a try. Good morning. Here we are on day 2 of this project. I am still in my yoga gear. I have not even showered, washed my face, dressed or anything, but I have been very keen to just get the next layer of this foil on now that the size has been drying overnight. So let's just get that on, and then I will go and get ready for the day, and then we will come back and carry on with the next section. All I'm aiming for here is just a slightly smoother finish than we had before. Might not be able to achieve it. I don't know. It might be to do with the material that's underneath the foil, or it might just be the way I've applied the size with the brush and everything. I think also yesterday I maybe did not wait long enough for the size to dry before applying the first set of foils, because I can tell some of the areas of the foil just looked a little bit wet. So I think I was just being a little bit impatient, which is another reason why I decided to go again this morning. It still looks a tiny bit stripy, but I think we'll just have to live with that. I'm thinking now we go ahead and apply the size to the other areas of the shoe that we're looking to foil, just because we should probably leave that for a few hours to dry a bit. So we might as well just do that now, and then I can get ready for the day. I think we do the heel in one color, possibly the front strap and the ankle strap in another color, or do we match the front strap and the back with the same color and then accent color for the top strap? Anyway, we can decide colors later on. Let's just go and apply the size. I think I'm going to leave the whole sides here in the burgundy velvet and the toe bit here as well. I guess we'll just leave in the burgundy velvet just to give it a nod to its original color. Now let me think strategically. If we want to do the strap and the back in different colors, then I should only size one, let that dry, and then size the rest. Just because if it's all tacky, it's really tricky to be precise with the application of the foils. It's much easier to be precise with the application of the size. So let's just do the back and the front strap for now. And I'm wondering if I just even stick to just one coat of size this time. I don't know if doing 2 coats really did anything that advantageous. But I guess the only way to know is to do the other one differently and see. I'm not masking off this bottom area here, so just having to be really careful when I'm painting. Try not to go into the heel area. And now let's do the top strap. Probably should mask that off actually. Just masking off there where the sole meets the strap, because I want that to stay black. I was initially thinking I might embellish the strap with something, whether it's some beading or some tassels or trim or something like that, but I'll take a call on that once I can see what the underneath colours are looking like. So that's one side done. Let's go ahead and repeat that on the other side, and then we will just leave these to dry for several hours. I'll come back to it maybe around lunchtime. It's now been a few hours, so I think it is time to apply the metal foil to the back of the heel and also the top straps. So it's now time to decide what colors we're going for on each of those areas. I think we go for blue on one of them and purple on the other. I think either this cobalt blue or a purple would be amazing with that chartreuse color, but let's see which one we do. Do we go purple on the heel or blue on the heel and purple on the front? I think let's go purple on the heel maybe. Yeah, I think that might look quite nice. Let's just apply the foil. I'm wondering if I should have actually done 2 coats of the size like I did on the heel. Might be okay, but I feel like it's not quite as tacky as it was the first time. But I'm going to do 2 layers of the foiling anyway. I'm just worried I got some on the heel here, but I might be able to brush those bits off. I may have to do something on the border between the heel and the shoe here. Just add a bit of embellishment, but also to cover up any little flaws in the foiling here. Love that colour. Look how lush that looks. And now let's go for this beautiful cobalt blue on the top strap. I should definitely have done 2 coats of size, I think. The foil is kind of struggling to stick on there. This will definitely need a second coat. Yeah, that's how we're looking so far. Cute, huh? I'm thinking I might keep the strap in the burgundy actually. I think it'd be cool to keep the bottom bit here and the strap in the burgundy. I think that just ties the whole thing together. It makes all the colours make sense. Let's go in with a second coat and then a second layer of foiling. I can see the size is going on so much smoother now. Before it was really sinking into the fabric. So that's the second coat of size done on the back heel and the top strap. So let's leave that to dry, and then we will come back and apply a second layer of foils on top. Right, I literally have some party guests arriving shortly, but I just wanted to quickly do the foiling on this. The size is now dry. You can see it's looking very clear. So let's go ahead and do the second coat of the foils. I could have left it till the morning. I think you've got about 24 hours with the size before it can't be used. It's too dry, but better be safe than sorry. Oh, this is starting to look so good. Oh, got a little purple flake on the blue bit. No. So maybe a little section I need to go again because there's a little purple flake that got onto the blue section. Okay, I can hear my friends starting to arrive, so I'm going to leave it there. We will come back in the morning and we will brush and buff and then go on to the next stage. Exciting. Now, before we move on to the last stage of this, which is the varnishing, I'm just going to go over a few little areas where the foil had taken in places that it shouldn't have. So here on this little heel where I've just got a purple splodge there, I am just going to apply a tiny bit of size just over that spot. And when that is dry, I will reapply a little bit of the chartreuse foiling. And then also here on the top strap of this, a little purple flake got onto the blue section here. So again, I'm just going to go over that little area with some size. And when that's ready, I will just apply a bit of blue foil on top of that. Apart from that, I think we're looking pretty good. Look how nice the purple came out. I'm actually wondering if I could have gotten a nicer finish on the heel actually. Maybe just doing one coat of size and then the foil and then one coat of size and foil again. But anyway, live and learn. And the blue just looks amazing. Look how much it pops on there. Really happy with how it's all turning out. I think it's looking pretty fancy. Let's now start giving some thought to a little embellishment that we could put on the strap here to just add a finishing flourish. We are going to create some tassel embellishments to go on the strap like we have on this pair of Cat McConey heels, which I absolutely love. Now, I've been looking at the construction of these particular tassels because they're a little bit different to how I would ordinarily make tassels, but I like these ones. I like the look of these ones because they poof out a lot more, almost like a pom-pom, but they're not, they're a tassel. And when I was looking at it, it's made of a bunch of these strands that are tied together in the middle, and then it's the top section that falls over like that that creates the extra poof. So I'm going to improvise with a few different supplies I have. I have got an offcut of a dress from a designer that I love called Julia Clancy with this beautiful tinsel fringing, which I could remove and repurpose to make a tassel for the shoe. I have these oval shaped connectors, which I've had in my stash for years. We can just thread that through the strap like that and then just have our little tassel or something dangling from that. We could even do multiple. We could just have a tassel in the middle and then have some little dangles or beads or something. I don't know how much to town I want to go on the embellishments here. The beauty though is this whole strap area here and the embellishment that goes on it can just be something that I change every time I wear the sandal. I've got the layer of fringe detached from the offcut now. Let's cut the trim into halves and then quarters. Here I've got some embroidery thread. It's not quite the right shade, but you shouldn't see it anyway once the tassel is finished. Just going to roll this along at the top actually, just to make the job at hand a little bit easier. Just going to start tying the thread around. Okay, that should be enough thread, so I'm going to cut it. Now I'm just going to get a tapestry needle that has a large eye. I'm just going to use it to put the end of that embroidery thread back through all of those loops that we just made, just to secure it. I think we'll just add a dab of glue. Just snip off those loose ends. And let's just even off this fringe here. Okay, now I'm going to cut off this other side. Let's do that along that trim. And then we have something that looks vaguely like that. Now, let's see how we are going to attach ours. On the Cat McConey sandals, they had a cord that went from up here and through. The way I'm going to do mine is I'm going to take an eye pin, which has a preformed loop on one side. I am going to attach a little bell because I think I need just a bead or something just to stop that eye pin from escaping through that middle section. And I quite like the idea of having a little bell at the end because it would just give just a little sound as I walk, which I think is quite cute. Now I'm going to pass that up through that gap in the middle. And then I am going to create a loop with this eye pin. Okay, so I've got that loop there now. And now let's attach this. Okay, so I need to open this jump ring. And now I can thread that connector through, close the jump ring. And there. Got our first little tassel that we can thread onto this. And how cute is that? With a little bell inside. And now we are going to be applying a coat of varnish over the top of the foiling. Again, this is not a step-by-step tutorial. I'm just showing you the process of what I'm doing. If you want a full step-by-step tutorial of the gold foiling process, you can find it on my Buy Me a Coffee shop, where you'll find details to all of the exact materials that I've been using as well. I'm just going in with a brush. I'm just going to apply a coat of varnish over the top of the foiled areas. That's what we're looking like with the varnish initially applied. So let's do the other side, and then we'll let that first coat dry, and then we'll come back and do a second coat. What I want to do now is cut something out, maybe a piece of leather or something, just to glue onto the sole of the shoe following the shape of this black pad here. Now that I've pickled off all of the fake leather coating that was on there, it's not looking especially nice. So I'm just going to get a bit of tracing paper, and I'm just going to attempt to trace that shape so that I can use it as a pattern piece to cut out maybe a piece of leather or something else to replace the insole with. For this last bit, I'm just going to trim what I have here already so that I can get the toe bit, because I can't get this big paper fitting right inside of the shoe. So let's just trim around it. Okay, I think we've got the general shape now. So let's cut ourselves some new soles using this pattern, and then we will glue it onto the insole of the shoe. I have here a tub full of leather samples from many years ago when I was sourcing for my jewellery collections. So I think we can just choose one. This one's in a really lovely, gorgeous, soft pony skin, but I don't know. I feel like maybe we go for a slightly more exciting colour. I also have this really gorgeous zebra print pony skin, which would look amazing. Is it weird having pony skin under your foot? I don't know. Kind of nice, kind of weird, I'm not sure. I think that zebra print would look amazing. Should we go for the zebra? Now, because it's got a bit of a pile, I'm just trying to work out which would be the nicer place to wear it. I think our foot will naturally just slide a bit like that in the shoe. So this feels nice and smooth. I think we go for that direction on one side. So on the reverse of the leather, I'm going to put my pattern piece, and then I am going to trace around it with my pen here. And what's nice is I will be able to stitch one of my tags into the sole as well, because we obviously lost the branded tag when we pickled off all of that fake leather. But it'd be nice, seeing as I have revamped the shoes, put one of my labels in it. This is what we're looking like. We've got the traced off sole shape on the leather, so I'm just going to cut that out now, just using my normal fabric scissors. So there's the first one. And let's see how it would look in situ. Oh, does look quite lush, doesn't it? Very, very lush. Love that. Okay, so let's trace off and cut out the other side, and then we will stitch our label in. I've got both of the soles cut out now. So I am going to take a couple of my garment labels, and I'm going to sew them onto the sole. I feel like I've changed the sandals enough that I can just put my label in it. I don't put my gold label, I just put my generic label. I'll just take a little bit of chalk and I'll just mark out the position where I want the labels to sit. But before I take that to the machine, I'm just going to give the shoes 1 second coat of varnish, and then while that's drying, we'll come back and sew the tags onto the soles. Right. This first coat of varnish should be touch dry now, so let's go ahead and apply the second coat, and then while that's drying, we will stitch our labels into the soles. We're just going to literally go over the top of the foiled areas again with a second coat of varnish. Okay, the second coat of varnish is on, so while those are drying, let's go ahead and sew the tags onto the soles of the shoes. Here we are at the machine. Let's go ahead and sew our labels on the soles. I'll swap off my walking foot here because the bottom of the leather is a little bit, what's the word? Gives a lot of resistance. So I just think it would help if we had the walking foot installed. I'm just going to position the label. It's one of those jobs where you wish you had 3 hands. Okay, I think that'll do. Let's just sew along. I'm not using a particularly special needle. I think this is just a universal needle that I've got in the machine already. You can get specialty leather needles, but in my experience, the normal universal needles work just fine usually. And then we're done on this side. So now let's repeat that with the other side. While the second coat of varnish is drying, I thought we could go ahead and just glue the new insoles into the shoes. Just getting some tape, and I'm just going to stick it on there just to get any last bits of fluff and things off. Oof, look how much of the sole it's still peeling off. So we definitely needed to cover the sole with some other material. So I think it's quite a good thing that we're doing that now. Blech. Okay, so now to glue the new soles on, I'm going to be trying an adhesive that I hear so much about. It's the E6000. I've never actually used it myself, but it's meant to be the go-to glue for any kind of crafts, and I mean, it sticks all kinds of things together. I don't really know if this is the right glue, to be honest, but I thought it might be worth a try. Should I put it on the soles first or on the shoes? Let's put a little bit on the shoe. I'm just going to sort of dab it on, and then I'm going to take this little spatula type thing just to spread it around. Obviously I want to get it near the edges, but I don't want to make it go outside of the edges. Okay, I'm satisfied that I've got fairly good coverage of the whole sole. So let's stick the first one down. I think this needs 24 hours to set, so we'll be able to just leave it overnight and come back and check on it. And it's quite good because then it means I can just reposition it if need be and just put it exactly where I need it to go. That's that side done. We are going to leave the varnish to dry, the glue on the insole to set, and then we will come back tomorrow and add any last finishing touches. But yeah, looks cool, doesn't it? There we go for day 5 of this shoe embellishment project. I really didn't think this would take this long because I've just been at every stage just building and trying to decide what to do next. It's only really evolved as it's gone through. But I think I'm at the final stages now. I think I've made the final breakthrough. I mean, it's looking pretty nice already. And once we've got our little pom-pom tassels on here, that'll just be very, very cute. But I just kept feeling like it needed a little something around the heel. I was looking at some beading, some trims, and if we look at my original cat Makoni sandals that kind of sparked the inspiration for these, it has this gorgeous toucan sort of sequined detail here with the little ruffles. It's so cute. And I was even looking up some sequined appliques or patches along a similar vein that I could source and then stick onto the heel of mine. But in the end, I thought, actually, I don't want it to be a total carbon copy, although it is starting to look a bit like a carbon copy. But I think I've landed this morning on what would be, for me, the perfect finishing touch. It's just a shame I didn't think about this before I glued this sole in, although it's still a bit tacky. Maybe we might be able to get away with it. I've got this metallic rickrack, and I suddenly thought last night, wouldn't that just look cool as a little scallop detail on the inside? I think because it's metallic and we've got all the metallics going on, we haven't got any green in the shoe yet. And I just thought, how cute would that look? And then to finish it off, I could just put the raw edge of the rickrack and hide it and glue it underneath this sole. So I'll just have to see if I can prise that off enough. I'm not sure how much the glue has set to just get that underneath and finish that off there. And then I was thinking, oh, have I got the wrist strength to just try and get a needle through this section here to sew it on? But in all honesty, I think I will just glue it on, because at this point in time, I just don't think my fingers will have the grip strength required to get a needle all the way through these 2 sections of fabric with the varnish and everything on it already. So I think we'll just glue it on, but I think that would just look really, really cute. And then the only other thing I was trying to figure out for the last couple of days is what to do about the join here. I could just leave it. From a distance, it looks okay, but close up, it doesn't look particularly neat. And I just thought it might be nice to bring in another little accent around there. Initially, I thought maybe a black and white, something monochrome, just to add a little bit of a pattern, almost like a print. Initially, I was thinking, well, maybe I'll do some beading if I just string these black and white seed beads so that I can have a little row of black and white beads going across here. But then I didn't want it to protrude too much. I didn't want it to be too bulky. I just happened to have these black and white sequins, and I thought, well, maybe a row of black and white sequins glued on. But then I thought, that's starting to look a little bit crafty. So I think my final options for that would be to do some kind of metallic rickrack. And actually that gold does seamlessly blend in with the heel, but maybe too seamlessly. I think it wants a little punch still. And then I've got this black rickrack, which is a slightly velvety texture with some gold edging. But something like that maybe would just finish that off perfectly. So anyway, a little bit to play around with again today, but we are on the home stretch. So let me start by actually doing the satisfying thing. Let's peel off the masking tape and let's hope it did its job. The second coat of varnish I did went on a little bit thick, to be honest. Oh, scared. All right, let me get my little scalpel. I think I need to just help the masking tape along here a little bit, because it's now kind of become one. It's become one with the varnish and the foils. And I don't want this varnish and foil to start peeling, because that would be annoying. Actually, let me go in with the scalpel all the way around the heel. Okay, looking okay. And now let's do the sides here. So that is how we are currently looking. Yeah. Let's see about gluing this trim on now. I'm just going to start by trimming a little bit off the edge. Just giving it a little burn along the edges just so it doesn't start fraying. I need to try and prise a bit of this sole up. So now I'm just going to get some super glue. This is a bit faster setting than the E6000, so this should bond pretty much straight away. Now, before I glue it onto the inside of the heel, I just want to glue it down on the other side, and then I can worry about this whole inside. So if that comes down like that, is if I cut that. So I need to decide what I'm doing up here, whether I try and do a scallop at the top. It'll mean bunching this trim like that. And I don't know if that's going to rub the back of my foot. We definitely do not want to be giving ourselves blisters here. I think we just go like that. I think we just fold it and come back that way. So again, trying to lift this side. For this next bit, gluing this rickrack onto the heel of the shoe, I think I'm just going to go with a fabric glue because we are technically gluing fabric to fabric. So I've just got the fabric glue on the back of the rickrack and oh, I didn't need to put it all the way. I just needed to put it halfway. What can I wipe it with? Oh, well, that was dumb. All right, I'm just getting a baby wipe here and I'm just trying to wipe off. Oh, that's annoying because this is the side that's going to show on the outside. Oh, good old trial and error, huh? I think I managed to salvage that side, blindly trusting this glue to work. Don't know if it is, actually. So let me just get in here with some super glue. Yes, super glue seems to be working. Hi. Oh my. Glucidants everywhere. All right, let's leave that for a few minutes to set. Just going to get some clips. Just clip those into place. I mean, looks nice. Let's just hope it holds. Now, while that is very aesthetically drying, let's decide what we're doing with the heel. I am, at the moment, I think gravitating towards this rickrack. I just think because we've got the scallop already going on here on the green. I think the black picks up the black on the heel. It's not competing with anything else. It's kind of just really complementing. So I think we go for that. I'm just trying to think how we finish off the edges on each side. I could cut and fold back and just have it glued there, or if I can wedge it in that little crack there, I think that would actually be pretty ideal. So let's cut that down. Let's give it a go. I want to have one of the scallops hitting that center back just there. So that would mean wedging this in. Come on, get in there. Where's my screwdriver gone? Okay, I think we're in just about. So let's just glue that in. Now is not the time to run out of glue. It really isn't. Okay, and then I'm just going to glue this trim. Now, how are we going to do this? I think if we just do a little line, which glue are we going to use though? Let's go with the E6000. I'll show how precise I can be with this. Let me just grab a toothpick so I can apply this with a little bit more precision. Let's go all the way around the top of the heel. Right, let me just carry on gluing till we get to the other side. That's how we are looking on each side. What I'm going to do now is going with a little bit of E6000 on the toothpick and just glue down all the little bumps on the rickrack. I'm just literally peeling the little bump there back a little bit, dabbing the glue on and then pushing it down. So I will do that on each of those all the way across. Here's what we are looking like now. She's really starting to look a bit next level, isn't she? I think this detail looks really cute, but it's making me feel like the front of it is now a little bit bare. So I was thinking that we maybe just stick a little bit of the rickrack detail just underneath there. Maybe just 3 little scallops poking out on the top and the bottom. Yeah, I just think that will look quite cute. So we're just going to glue it on and we're just going to hide all the raw edges underneath. I guess we can just do that. So we'll have 1, 2, 3. Which glue are we going to use? All right, let's go in with the super glue. We've got to be quick, but it does at least bond straight away. Just hoping it doesn't make the strap too tight on my feet because it's already tight enough as it is going around the old bunions. Okay, so let's cut another strip to go on the other side here. Now, initially I thought I would just mirror the scallops so that you have 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, but I'm just looking underneath and just to reduce bulk, I think it makes sense to have the 2 trims sitting flush like that rather than overlapping like that. So I'll have to have 4 on the bottom. In that case, I think I will apply the glue to the inside of the strap and then as carefully as I can, place the trim where it needs to go, just so I can see a bit better. think that worked okay. It's going to be hard for you to see, but on the inside, we haven't got any overlap there. We've got the two rickracks sitting right on top of each other. It's coming along. Okay, I think I've finally settled on what the final embellishment is going to be. We are going to go with this little set of graduated blue stones, and I'm going to stick them just on the top of the heel, just like that. But I'm not going to stick them on individually. I'm going to leave them in a string, and I'm just going to finish off the strings with some crimps and crimp covers, and then I will glue them together on the string onto the back of the heel. I've got one set here already. Another set I have got to take off of this, which is a little sample of, it might have been the start of a necklace or a bracelet from one of my jewellery sample bins. And initially I was like, oh, what if we did a whole bejeweled, embellished strap? But I don't know that I'm feeling all of this gaudy gold chain and all that for this particular shoe. But what I did think was that we could add a few little dangle embellishments that can just thread and hang onto the strap that we can take on or off, just like we are doing with these little tassels here, which I'm going to make a change to actually, because they're just a little bit too poofy. So I think we're going to add a little cord cap on the top, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So I am going to take the beads off of this. I think they're still on a string, which would be handy because I can just repurpose that same string. And I think we're going to take the end two beads off. I'm going to get a little crimp. I just want a little mini one. And just to say, although I'm not doing any particular jewelry tutorials on this video, if you are interested in learning some basic jewelry making techniques, which will allow you to make, I would say, up to 90% of most costume jewelry that you see on the high street, you can go to my Buy Me a Coffee shop. I have some beginner jewelry making workshops and courses on there that you can have a look at. Once you know just 2 or 3 basic techniques, you'll be able to do any of these things that I'm doing here with just a few pairs of pliers. Doesn't cost very much at all. You can get started making your own jewelry. And I have to say, it was an absolute game changer for me. Okay, so I am just getting a little crimp tube into my crimping pliers. I'm just going to crimp the end of this wire, and then I'm just going to get a crimp cover. I absolutely love using crimp covers. I just think they are so versatile in jewelry making, and they just give such a neat finish to so many different beaded projects. Some coated pliers here. Just going to put a crimp cover on the end. Put my reading glasses on. I can't see anything. I might have to put my light on as well. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Just take the end of that wire off. Take the last 2 beads off. Let's pop a little crimp tube on. Close it with my crimping pliers. Get another crimp tube. Get another crimp cover. Put it on the other side. Snip away that excess wire. And now I've got a beautiful little fan with 2 little gold balls on the end. And then we are going to glue that onto the top of the back heel. I'll probably use a combination of the E6000 because that takes so long to set. So I think I'll do the E6000 on the bottom, and then I will put super glue on the top just so the super glue can hold it in place while the E6000 is bonding. Glue it on, making sure that the longest bead is symmetrically right in the middle of the shoe. So that's what it looks like. I think it looks quite cute. And finally, let's come back and revisit these tassels. I think they're just a little bit too bouncy. I need to just tame them a little bit. So I'm going to take this apart and add a cord cap to the top of this. So let's just take this off. Let's cut that. And we're going to start over. So let's take the bell off. Let's get one of our eye pins, put the bell on again. Right, and I think the other secret to this is that I need to try and keep it right in the middle. So it's not jauntily going off to one side. And now I'm going to add a little cord cap. Not sure what size to go for. This is a 6mm. I think a smaller one might not have enough of an effect. And the job of this is that it keeps this tassel down a bit. Yeah, I think it does help actually. It does help. So now let's just add the finishing touch to these sandals. Really tempted to add a couple more dangles, but we'll worry about that another time. Actually, before we call it completely done, let's just have a little play with adding a few other little embellishments. I'm feeling like these shoes are looking a little bit jungly, like a sort of metallic jungle kind of vibe. So I have got a little set of parrot earrings here, and I thought it might be quite fun to add a little parrot dangle onto the strap. And also I've got this little leaf and snake. These are earrings I made quite a while ago, but I think it might be quite cool to put the leaves and the snake as well. So let's repurpose a couple of these things. Put the parrot on another set of leaves that I found in one of my sample boxes. So let's go in for the final finished design. Let's thread snake on first, then our tinsel tassel. Bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Tinsel tassel, followed by our parrot. And there you have it. There's our 20p kilo sale embellished sandals. Here is a close-up of the shoes. I love the fact that I can just change the embellishments depending on the outfit. I think the strap here just gives so much potential for customization and just changing it up depending on the outfit. So let's get into the shoes and let's see how they look on. Here we go for a modeled view of the shoes. I will do a little spin around so you can see them from all angles. Yeah, super pleased with how they came out. I just think they look really cute, very metallic and sparkly, very fun, which is what we love in a shoe. Incidentally, I have styled the shoes today with this dress that I refashioned from a thrifted shirt dress. It was actually a shirt dress before, just a very plain shirt dress. And I had refashioned it initially into a crop shirt. And then I turned the bottom bit of the shirt into a skirt. And then I married the shirt and the skirt again into a dress. I've actually posted that series of transformations onto my YouTube shorts. If you'd like to see the full story behind this dress transformation, head to my YouTube shorts and you can check those videos out. But for now, let's just celebrate our little sandal project. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed following me along with this project. Remember that if you'd like to find the specific step-by-step tutorials to do with the metal foiling process or any of the jewelry making techniques that I've used in this project, you can head to my Buy Me a Coffee shop and have a look at my paid tutorials there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.